Hello, and welcome to Money Mondays, powered by the Joseph Business School, where you can tune in every first and third Monday of the month to hear a new wealth creation topic. Be sure to subscribe to the JBS YouTube channel and share these podcasts with your friends and family. For those of you who are tuning in for the first time, welcome. And to our returning viewers, it is a delight to see you all in the new year. As you know, 2020 is not only the start of a new year, but also the start of a new decade. This year, Money Mondays is going to take you on a journey. Last year, we covered much of what you needed to know in order to lay the foundation for you to become more financially literate. This year, we are building for wealth. And in the words of our founder, Dr. Bill Winston, next stop is Canaan land for you. Today, we have Dr. Eddie Cornegay Jr. here to discuss a topic that we all think about at the beginning of the year: goal setting and vision planning. And later on in the podcast, we will talk to JBS Deans Dr. Irene Abrams and Jess Cotta about the new Executive Accelerator program. We're talking taking businesses globally. To get the ball rolling, our first guest, Dr. Cornegay, is a distinguished graduate of the Chicago Theological Seminary and the first African-American male to earn the PhD. His PhD is in theology, ethics, and culture. Guess what? With distinction. It should be noted that Dr. Cornegay shares this distinction with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was given his first honorary degree by Chicago Theological Seminary in 1957. Welcome, Dr. Cornegay, to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure to have you here. And so, Dr. Cornegay, today we're celebrating the life of Dr. Martin Luther King, who was a great civil rights leader. And so the two of you actually shared the exact same pedigree as far as the degree, your PhD in theology. Can you tell us, what does that mean to you?
Well, it means a great deal. He was awarded that honorary degree in 1957. And so, you know, that comes after the Montgomery bus boycotts, and he was fully involved in the civil rights movement at that time. As a theologian, all of us as African-American theologians are beholding to Dr. King and the legacy of scholarship and activism that he embodied. What's fascinating about Dr. King is that when he earned the degree, he had the opportunity to stay in the academy and teach at any Ivy League school that he wanted to. But what did he do? He didn't even go back to his father's church, Ebenezer, in Atlanta. He chose to go to Dexter Avenue Baptist Church and take up the call right there. And so it was there that he began his career as a civil rights activist, the leader of the movement at that point. And so when we look at today, I can remember, I think I'd written a reflection a few years ago. I think it might have been on the 50th year of the anniversary of the March on Washington. And I was in an office that he actually did his work out of on the west side of Chicago at the First Church of the Brethren, which should be a historical site, right? And looked out on the community and looked out on the street and really asked the question, are we any better off today than we were at the time of his assassination in April 4th, 1968. And understanding too that at that particular time, Dr. King was fully involved and I think invested in seeking out financial or economic equality for the community. And so here we stand now in the 21st century here in the second decade, and that question is still quite unresolved, and also being asked and actively pursued here at Living Word as well with Dr. Winston.
Yeah, and you know, it reminds me of Dr. King's book title, Where Do We Go From Here, Chaos or Community? And so in thinking about that book title, it reminds me of how at that time there are different dynamics that happen as far as where we were as a community, where we are as a people, and moving from that mindset of just wanting a seat at the table into now we're at a place now we're talking ownership with JBS.
Yes.
Can you talk a bit about that?
Well, it actually, in thinking about it, it made me go back to the book, so I'm doing a reread of it and seeing how Dr. King was looking at the change in the dynamics of the movement at that time And in 1966, the phrase Black Power, 66, 67, the phrase Black Power emerged out of the March to Selma. And that question really arose with this in mind, that there had been sit-ins, there had been an opportunity to sit at the table, but there wasn't an economic capacity to actually be able to buy, much less own restaurants. And so there was still a lot of work to get done and to be done. But that book, I think, is one of the better texts towards the end of his life that really captures, I think, the questions, and is a great demonstration of how powerful it was, but still how limited the movement ended up being with regards to really creating sustainable change in our community, especially economic change.
Yes, and Dr. K, as you're talking, it makes me think about how has society shaped our identity with regards to goals? Because at that point in time, there was a goal to sit at the table. But as you stated, I want the audience to make sure that they tune into a fine point that you noted. There was a goal to sit at the table, but there never was an actual vision to own the table. And so how does goals play a part into, because of course you're here to talk and share with us how to set goals, but we did want to acknowledge the fact that this is such a Memorial Day to acknowledge his life, but how does goals play a part in this?
That's a great question. And I think one of the dynamic things that we need to think about is what God says about our goals. And God is the ultimate goal setter. And we've been learning from Dr. Winston about being fruitful, but also understanding too, along with being fruitful, the other goals that God has set for us is to be fruitful, to multiply, to replenish, subdue, and with the purpose of having dominion. And if we look at our community, a lot of times, oftentimes, we set short-sighted goals. We set personal goals, but have we asked the question, do they align with the purpose that God has for us?
Wow.
And so if you think about it, there are like 4 lacks: financial lack, health lack, family lack, family lack, and the lack of purpose. And so if we don't really understand what the purpose is for us.
Which deals with identity.
Which deals with identity, yes. And so I think that's the thing that still gets challenged these days is, who are we?
Yes.
Right? Who are we? And if we don't look at God for our identity, then we're always going to be challenged at the core around our finances, around our health, and with our families. 3 John 2 says, I wish to see you be in health and prosper, even as your soul prospers.
Wow.
But you have to have the strength of identity that's embedded in purpose to be able to have that to manifest for you.
That's good. And so what you're saying is, Dr. K, to our audience, is that there is a direct correlation between goals and identity. Typically, what we set as a goal is a direct reflection of how we see ourselves. And so in speaking about goals, there's another component of vision. And so what's the difference between setting a goal and having a vision?
That's a very good question. I think, and again, in the word, it says, without a vision, the people perish. And so vision is essential for goal setting. I've written down here, you can't map your destination unless you have knowledge of where you're starting. And so a vision is extremely important in that. But it takes that knowledge, that God knowledge, to be able to do that. And I think what happens oftentimes is that we set vain goals. And those vain goals are personal goals that don't align with what God is doing in the world right now.
Yes.
And I think that if we understand what God is doing in the world right now and set our goals in concert with that, then we can see our purposes manifest, and we can see ourselves achieving some of the goals that God sets according to that 4-point plan to have dominion in the earth.
And then too, I'm sure we'll have more fulfillment, because oftentimes I know most people set a goal, and then once you achieve the goal, sometimes there still isn't this sense of fulfillment, like I fulfilled something. And so you're saying align it with purpose, but align it with what God has already called for you to do. Absolutely. So that it's not just a vain goal, but it actually leads to a purpose, which also helps you fulfill your destiny. And so, Dr. K, what are the different types of goals? What are the different categories of goals?
Well, you've kind of caught me a little bit there, right? But there's foundational goals, there's capstone goals, and there's lifetime goals. And we can just look at those as well as provisional goals. And the provisional ones are really the essentials, right? Until you get down the provisional goals that will enable you to be able to complete any kind of plan for your purpose and your destiny, you're kind of left out in the cold. You're going to find yourself recalibrating and reinventing and staying in that loop of undetermined and unaccomplished goals if in fact you don't understand those things. And so one of the things that makes you successful in any endeavor is those enabling goals. Yeah. Those enabling goals are very simple. Getting up on time, understanding how to manage your time, yeah. Having a determination of what work is. And I think a lot of that is tied into work. Work reveals purpose. And so we need goals, if you will, to enable us to pivot from year to year, from point to point, act to act, so that we can get to what it is that God has called for us to do and ordained for us to do and purposed us to do in this world.
Okay. And Dr. K, in thinking about goals and vision, do you start with the vision, meaning thinking with the end in mind before you create the goals, or do you start with goals first?
I would say you have to start with, if I think I heard you right, the vision first. And I think that we all come to this with a vision, right? We all come into this world given something that we can understand. And I mean, there's plenty of what I call case studies in the Bible for vision, starting with Abraham, going to Isaac, to going to Jacob, to Joseph. They all had visions. And with those God-given visions, there were goals, and we can read about those goals. Not always not always an easy road, right? But they were able to stick with them and see the manifestation of God's vision in their lives because they endured the goals that purposed them towards that.
That's good. And so as you were talking, I was thinking about the different stories of Abraham, or even the story of Joseph, where Joseph had a vision that he said that his brother's sheaves were bowing to his, or even Abraham, where God gave him the vision and told him, go unto a land that I'll show of you, and I'll make of you a great nation. But one of the goals for Abraham was he had to be willing to go. He had to step out on faith. And then two, another goal is, in this step, let's trust God.
Right.
Like, I'm going to trust that I'm going somewhere where I know no one. No one there knows me. And that God said that he'll make me prosperous, that he'll bless the work of my hands. And so even in thinking about the story of Joseph, I know you mentioned that one. Can you talk about, I know that he said that his brother's sheaves were bowing to his. Can you talk about what were different goals there you would see that you could say that you mentioned?
Well, I don't, when I think about that, I think even the expression of the vision has to be a goal. Oftentimes, God will give us something big that to the world it might seem absurd, it might be off-putting, it might alienate us. And so one of the goals is to be able to speak it. If we believe that, and what we've been taught and what we hear from Dr. Winston, that we have to speak into the atmosphere, the first thing of expressing vision sets, I believe, atmospheric dominion that's needed for all of the goals to be able to be successful.
Wow.
So we have to speak it into the atmosphere. And I believe that when we speak the vision into the atmosphere, it sets the narrative, it sets the landscape. Then we just have to understand that God, we have to ask God to give us the knowledge and the strength to endure the goals, so that we can move towards that dominion that he has called us into in this world.
Wow, Dr. K, as you were talking, I was thinking about, even within my own self, how do I bracket or categorize my goals for myself? And one thing, as you were sharing, when I saw vision, as you stated, that God's ultimate vision for his people is dominion.
Yes.
So the ultimate vision is dominion.
Dominion.
And so goals could be open a business. Goals could be purchase that investment property, you know, and it's like, how do we, so it's like there's the ultimate vision of dominion. There's a goal of opening the business. There's a goal of purchasing that investment property. And then there's sub goals. Like, what are you going to do in order to get you there? And so I just want to ask you, for you being, and I would classify you as an expert in goal setting, how do you plan your goals? Meaning it's the top of the year. What are some things how do you structure or go about even starting the process of goal setting?
It all starts for me with the Word of God. Any goal without the Word of God is derived out of my own flesh.
That's good.
And so even with those goals set up the decision-making processes throughout the year. And any decision without the consultation of the Holy Spirit is a bad decision.
That's good.
And so once we start with the goal of God, the goal being in the Word of God, and I'll just use Matthew 25 verses 35 through 36. And there's goals in there for me. And the goal is to do what it is that the Word says. So it says to do it unto the least of these. And so if we just take that as a goal, then we can begin to understand the decisions that will help us along the way to make sure that goal is manifest.
Yeah.
I think of it like every time that you find a covenant, a revelation of a covenant that God gives to you, it's like a business. You become a covenant franchisee. And so how do we invest in doing the startup of the gospel? And it takes the goals to be able to set that. Everything that God has given us, it begins and ends with the word of the Lord. And so any goals that align with what God is doing in this time, if we can understand, that's another key thing, is to find out what God is doing in this time, and then align your goals so that you can do it with Him.
That's good.
Yes.
That's really good. And so, Dr. Cornegay, for those of our viewers who are watching, Dr. Cornegay will be teaching a class here on site in the Joseph Business School. He'll be teaching goal setting and vision planning. It will begin on March the 7th of this year. It'll be on a Saturday, correct, sir?
That's right.
All righty, and that will be from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. For those of you who are interested in attending that class, or even learning how to develop yourself, find identity, and beginning to restructure your goals, make sure you view the link that's below. View that website. Go there, click on the event, register. You do not want to miss this. I believe what Dr. K is giving us are keys of wisdom that are going to catapult many of you. As Dr. Winston has stated, 2020 is going to be the year of glory, and being, as he stated, on the right side and doing what God and getting in alignment with what God is doing this year is where you want to be. It's your ticket to prosperity. Dr. Cornegay, I want to thank you so much for coming on Money Mondays. The words that you shared were just quite impactful. And I've never thought to actually begin to start with the Word of God as far as my goals. But now I know how to restructure my goals and my vision. Thank you for coming.
It's my pleasure, my honor.
All righty, have a great day.
All right.
Joining me now is Dr. Irene Abrams, Dean of the Executive Accelerator Program, and Ms. Jess Cotta, Assistant Dean of the Executive Accelerator Program. Welcome to the show, ladies.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for coming on. So, ladies, you're here to talk to us today about the Executive Accelerator Program.
Correct.
Can both of you share with us, what is the Executive Accelerator Program?
Well, as many of your audience may know, the Joseph Business School, founded by Dr. Bill Winston, and Vice President is Dr. Dolores Thomas, who runs the Joseph Business School with her amazing faculty, you and me and Dr. Irene. Well, it's known for its educational excellence and collaborative environment and the phenomenal faculty that we have here. We wanted to incorporate the same amount of energy and community into the Joseph Business School Executive Accelerator Program. And it's not just inspirational, but also powerful. So what we do is it's the most anticipated, exclusive program that is offered to our community. And it's a 6-week program that is designed for established entrepreneurs to scale their business and grow it to the next level.
Okay, and so how did JBS go about incorporating the new Executive Accelerator Program within the school?
Yeah, so we just didn't want to add a program for program's sake, because we have 77 courses here that are offered annually, and it's not just another program we threw together, but in our research, do you mind if I share some stats?
Go ahead.
So in our research, what we found is the Caucasian-owned businesses create enough jobs to employ 44% of the working age Caucasian population and produce an annual revenue of, and could give them a check of $102,000.
Okay.
When we compared that with an African American business, they create enough jobs to employ 4% of the working aged African American and could provide a check for $7,000.
Wow.
So we took that stats and we brought it back to Chicago and saw that in Chicago, African American businesses are 36.7% of total businesses, yet they only produce 1% of total revenue.
Wow.
That was an appalling stat. And it was the study between the necessity-based businesses and opportunity-based businesses. We created this program that would produce resources, and we believe that when a business comes to a level, they have this mentality of stagnation. They can't grow anymore. So what we decided to do is we wanted to incorporate some principles that Dr. Irene will share about the class itself to talk about how they can grow and scale and to come to the next level, not just think about growing big. Yes, everybody wants $1 million check at the end of the day, but how do you go about doing it? What are the steps that you need to do? So this program will answer those questions and bring you those opportunities.
Okay, awesome. And Ms. Cotta, you stated scale. What do you mean by scale?
Yes, so when you hear the JBS Executive Accelerator ad, you hear a lot about scale, growing. What does this mean? This means that your company is able to handle a growing amount of sales in a capable, cost-effective manner. Whether we incorporate innovation, market trends, whatever it may be, we're gonna help you to not just think big, but grow big, scale.
Dr. Abrams, can you share with us what the curriculum entails?
Absolutely. We are so excited about this curriculum. We have taken so much time in ensuring that we have the right mix of biblical principles and business principles. And our beloved founder, Pastor Winston, is a renowned businessman. And so when we look at what our mandate is, it is very important that we do exactly what God has called us to do in this earth, and that is to be kingdom-minded entrepreneurs. So we're excited about this curriculum. We're following Pastor Winston's model. I know he's been teaching over the last few months from Genesis chapter 1. And so we want to make sure that the curriculum follows the pattern of kingdom business, which is to be fruitful, multiply, replenish, and subdue. So you will find that our courses follow this model. From the first course that we're going to teach, our Vice President, as she mentioned, Dr. Dolores Thomas will be teaching that. What is the state of entrepreneurship? What is it now? What are the current trends? And then we're excited because Dr. Winston is then going to follow behind her on expanding your capacity to think biblically, through biblically. And that's all about meditation and getting our minds together. Yeah. And I'm excited about this other course that we're going to do, Windows of Opportunity and Access to Capital. Because oftentimes entrepreneurs, especially the entrepreneurs at this stage that will be taking the Accelerator course, these entrepreneurs have already made some money. Yes. Not a lot, but they've already made some money. They need access to capital, and that access to capital is at a whole nother level. Okay. And so we're excited because we know that one of our board members, Jay Ployd, will be teaching that. He'll be coming all the way from New York, so I'm excited about him. Then we have breakthrough thinking and economic development. I know that's our sweet spot here at the Joseph Business School is our entrepreneurship training. We are partnered with the SBDC, and so we have a strong economic development department here. So we're excited because that class is going to be offered, and I think what makes that class so special is we have someone here that works with governmental contracting. So he'll be able to teach our class participants firsthand on what they really need to be able to get those governmental contracts. We also have a class on winning with innovation. I'm excited about that class as well as global sources. We're in an age now that it's important for us to know about business globally, how to expand, what is import, export, how can that grow your business? And oftentimes that's a barrier in businesses as well. And then finally, IPOs, mergers and acquisitions, and succession strategies. And those are just a few of the classes that we have that when the students come, they're going to be blown away because Jess and I have taken great pains and we've prayed and we've fasted and we've really asked God to help us find classes that will help the students come break through those barriers in their business so that when they leave, they will be able to scale.
Wow. And Dr. Abrams, you mentioned there were 3 instructors that you mentioned. Are there other instructors that we can look forward to?
Absolutely. I'm excited to mention those. Of course, I mentioned our beloved founder, Pastor Winston, who is such an anointed businessman. And I really want to talk a little bit about him because he really models the king and priest, you know, and I'm excited about him teaching. But Tiffany Norwood is someone whom I really just got to know, and we're excited. She's a global entrepreneur, so I'm reading my notes here, who has done 7 company startups, expanding 6 continents. What an amazing person to come and teach you how to scale your business. As the head of international business development at WorldSpace, which is satellite digital radio, she helped launch XM Radio in the United States. Tiffany Norwood raised $670 million to fund its product development. She will be teaching our innovation class. And I actually spoke with her one-on-one, and she's very excited to teach us about the new trends in innovation.
Absolutely.
I'm excited about that. And then, of course, Samaria Hudson, I know we're familiar with her.
Yeah.
She's an amazing woman. She's, along with her senior leadership team at Convatec PLC, she led the largest IPO in a healthcare company in Europe and led the largest medtech IPO in the world, market cap over $5 billion. She'll be teaching our IPO mergers and acquisition class. Someone that's new that will be coming to teach that hasn't taught in any program is Dr. Felicia Owens.
Yeah.
She's teaching breakthrough thinking. She's a clinical psychologist, and her specialization is really helping people break through barriers from their past and how they think. And I know that we've had conversations before around does our mindset make us poor? And she'll be able to really talk to the students and help them see, like, what is it mentally, along with Pastor Winston's class about biblical meditation, that's causing you not to scale in your business. So she's going to be able to come and help with the mind, because a lot of this really hindrances, it's a mindset in entrepreneurship. And so we're really excited about all of our instructors. And then I mentioned our Vice President, Dr. Dolores Thomas. So she's also coming with not only the state of entrepreneurship, but she'll be teaching a class on marketing strategies as well.
And what will our business owners learn by taking this program?
Oh my God, they are really, I think one of the main things they're going to take from this program is learning how they need to grow from point A to point Z, and what has caused them not to be able to grow thus far. Because we'll be able to see, is it a marketing issue? Is it a sales issue? Is it a strategies issue that's causing you not to grow, or is it access to capital? We'll be able to work with them and find out why they haven't been able to grow from this point. And 6 weeks is a short amount of time. And so we're gonna have some mentors that are subject matter experts in that industry that's gonna work with them and coach them. They have myself, they have Jacinth to help really, when they come in, just take them by the hand and really lead them. Well, we'll be running because it's a 6 weeks program, but when they come, they're not gonna be alone. We're gonna walk them through how to help them grow. And hopefully with Dr. Felicia Owens, she'll be able to help them with some keys and points to see, like, where their thinking is off in their business.
What resources are made available for these business owners?
I'm so glad you asked me that, because we are a faith-based institution. And so one of the main things, they'll be getting prayer confessions. And that is really important, because I had talked about earlier about the mind and how we think. So these prayer confessions are really going to help them renew their mind. And something else we have, and it's a sweet spot here for us at JBS, is our Small Business Development Center. And basically what that is we have counselors here that will help coach the students one-on-one. And inside of that SBDC, we have a flagship of PTAC, which is our Procurement Technical Assistance Center. What that helps the students is with governmental contracting. So what happens is students are able to work with our director of PTAC, and opportunities can be made available to them if they want to bid on certain projects. We also have an international trade center that helps with global sourcing, importing, exporting. Nowadays, you cannot remain a local business and grow. You really need to look international and look global. I'm excited about that. We're giving them a control book. What this does is it puts all of their processes in one place, from their business plan to their sales strategies. It's going to help them, their diverse certificates, because we're going to help them, if they're not already minority business owned, we're going to help them with that process get started. So that's another resource they have. We're going to give them a subscription to the Wall Street Journal. Help them keep up with what's going on Wall Street financially, exactly, market trends. They'll have access to books, especially Pastor Winston's book, Faith in the Marketplace. That should be an entrepreneur's Bible. You should be reading that along with the Word daily. We're going to teach you how to do a growth plan. One of the classes that I will be teaching is project management. So I'll be helping you develop project plans and growth plans, strategies, and more. And we're just excited because I think when you think about resources, we're going to help you with the super and the natural and marry them both. So we're excited about all the things. And then we have a pool of over 500 mentors that will be able to match our students with the exact mentor that can help take them to the next level.
That's awesome. Ms. Cotta, what is the cost of this program?
The cost of the Executive Accelerator program is $5,500, but there are scholarships and discounts available, and this is one of the most exclusive. There is no other program like this program in the world. So it's a launch class. It's an exciting program. People want to be a part of it, and it's in the long run, it's going to really change the way that you do business and think about your business. So yeah, it's
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for those of us that are watching and that may be interested, are there payment plans available?
Absolutely. We do payment plans over the 6 weeks, or we'll personally work with your business and whatever. We have a lot of students that are actually flying in from Nebraska and Texas to be a part of the program for the 6 weeks. So it's we are willing to work with your business and incorporate whatever you need. We're here to help you.
Is this an accredited program?
Yes, it is accredited through the nationally accredited Joseph Business School. So yes, it is an accredited program.
And where are classes held?
They're held here on campus in Forest Park, but online classes coming soon.
Can you remind our audience of exactly what is the duration again of this program?
The duration is 6 weeks long. So in the 6 weeks, we'll help you scale.
And are there any specific days of the week that they'll have to be here on campus?
Yes, the program is, it starts February 1st, and it's Friday evenings from 6:30 to 8:30. Except for Friday 14th, which is a very special day for most people.
Okay.
So that day we're doing it in the morning time. And then we're also doing Saturday all days from 8 o'clock to 5 o'clock. So it's a very long days, but it's going to be worth it.
Is there still time to apply?
Yes, there is still time to apply. You can apply at jbs.edu.
What is the application due date?
The application due date is going to be January 25th. So if you have your applications before the January 25th due date, you'll be considered for these discounts and scholarships, and we'll be able to give you that discounted price.
And when is the official start date of the program?
February 1st.
Will I receive a diploma at the completion of this program?
You will receive, upon the completion of the executive program, you will receive, the business will receive a completion certificate through the Joseph Business School.
Okay, awesome. I think the two of you have answered all of our questions with regards to the Executive Accelerator program. Ladies, if you could so kindly, one more time, look at that camera. Let them know exactly where to go and register so that they'll go ahead and make sure they take advantage of this. As a reminder, you guys, she said the application deadline is January the 25th. Class officially starts February 1st. Jess, where can they register?
You can register at jbs.edu or call our office at 708-697-6288. Again, the number is 708-697-6288, and one of our JBS team member will be happy to answer your call. We look forward to seeing you in class.
Thank you, ladies, for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
We want to hear from you. If there is a wealth creation topic that you'd like for us to cover, email us at moneymondays@jbs.edu. Remember, in 2020, we are building for wealth, and we are bringing a team of experts to help you get there. Submit your questions in advance to moneymondays@jbs.edu. Don't forget to join us every first and third Monday of the month at noon for a new topic on financial literacy and wealth creation. Subscribe to the JBS YouTube channel. And as always, I'm your host, Jill Thompson, and I look forward to seeing you prosper in 2020.